What's up, family? Man, we're gonna go heavy and we're gonna go deep today, okay? And this may be a little offensive to some people. Again, that's not my intent, but you guys already know who I am. You guys already know what I'm about. I'm gonna keep it real, okay? Parenting is a leadership role. I'm gonna say that again. Parenting is a leadership role. And if we know anything about leaders, everybody ain't meant to be a leader. Everybody ain't worthy to be a leader. Say again, everybody is not worthy to be a leader. Everybody is not ready to be a leader. And everybody ain't ready to be a parent. Stay with me, we're going somewhere. Great leaders get stressed out just like poor leaders do. The difference is great leaders know how to transmute that energy. And so those that are following them, those are their subordinates or their troops, they never feel or see that stress because the leader has the ability to rally the troops. The leader has the ability to rally those behind them to get the job done. I'm not going to get into any argument with you guys about poor leadership and great leadership, man. Whoop de whoop de whoop. And I don't have time for all that. You know what I mean? There's some people that are so intellectually stupid. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to put it nicely. You know what I mean? Man, they want to argue about everything. There's no poor leaders and whoop de whoop. Man, go back and read your history books. Hitler was a leader. He may not have been a great leader, but he was a leader of a country. Mussolini was a leader. Mao was a leader. There was a lot of Stalin was a leader. There were a lot of leaders that led their country into war there that was destructive. There were a lot of leaders that were poorly. We got a lot of them in our country. A lot of leaders that are ignorant and that suck at being leaders. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? The crazy thing about leadership is that when you get into a place of leadership, you're always going to have those people that are jealous of you. You're always going to have those people that are angry or that can't believe that you're in that position and you have the ability to get the job done. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. Leaders aren't born. Leaders are groomed. When I say leaders, I'm talking about great leaders. Great leaders are groomed and molded and marinated in hell. And stay with me. And what am I talking about? They're molded and they're groomed, and man, that life has a way of preparing them to be a leader. Life has a way of getting them ready through the hellish situations that they've gone through so that they can become a great leader. Stay with me. I see so many young people sitting there talking about, oh man, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and they think they're a leader. They think they're a great leader, because they get on Google and they look up all these leadership quotes, and they could quote them, from verbatim, or they watch all these videos on leadership, that don't make you a leader. That don't make you an effective leader. That don't make you a great leader. You're not a great leader because you have a degree. You're not a great leader because you have a title. Titles, degrees have absolutely nothing to do with leadership ability. You can only get that through life. You can only get that through the school of hard knocks. only life can prepare you to be a great leader. I know so many people that have gone on to college, got all these degrees, and man, they know absolutely nothing about being a great leader. They don't have any characteristics of a great leader. None. But they got all these degrees. They've had all these titles, and they suck at leadership. I'm not bad mouthing leaders. Leaders are needed. And again, when I talk about leaders, I'm not talking about the Hitlers, the Stalins, and some of the presidents we've had in this sorry country. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the leaders that are great leaders, leaders that you don't necessarily consider them a leader right off the bat. I'm not talking about a lot of these preachers and teachers and all that other crazy stuff, okay? That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not into that stuff. A while back, I used to work in Corcoran State Prison. I was a substance abuse counselor. And everywhere I've gone, I've always kind of promoted pretty fast, you know? And I remember being in Montana. I'm going to get back to Corcoran in a second. I was in Montana. And I was in church at this time. Young guy, probably my early 20s. And this man had to be in his late 60s, early 70s. He got done preaching, and man, there was the anointing, the energy was on this guy so heavy. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. And I walked up to him after the service was over, and I shook his hand. Never met this guy before. He came in from out of state, and I just looked at him in his eyes, and we were just kind of like locked on each other. And I said, "Man, I want that anointing. I want that. I want what you have." And he just smiled. And that's always stayed with me. He never responded to anything. He just smiled. Years later, I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks. You can't get what I got till you've been where I've been. I'm going to say that again. You can't get what I got until you've been where I've been. And what I mean by that, you don't have to necessarily go through the hellish things that I've gone through, but you got to go through some hellish things. You've got to have been broken down and beaten down. You've got to have gone through the phases and stages of loneliness and isolation and whoopty whoopty whoop. You know what I mean? In order to become a great leader, man, there's a broken process to build you back up. There's a process of isolation that you have to go through. Why? You have to go through that process of isolation and loneliness so that you can become comfortable in your own skin. You got to go through that process of isolation and loneliness so that you don't get caught up in the hoorah. You know what I mean? You don't get caught up in the noise. You don't get caught up in all the chatter. You don't get caught up in all the glam. You don't get caught up in all the hype. You don't get caught up in all the I love you and you're the greatest. And you're not caught up in all that because you've been broken, you've been humbled, you've been prepared so that when you get to this stage, when you get to this phase, man, you're not tripping off of that. That don't mean nothing to you. So you don't lose yourself. Going back to Corcoran, substance abuse counselor. We just talked to a bunch of inmates, and I moved up pretty fast and became a senior counselor, and that meant that I was in charge of overseeing 82 inmates, and I was in orientation, and so I was in charge of the new staff coming into the department, coming into the job, and so we trained the new staff on how to do the paperwork. We trained the new staff on inmate politics. We trained the new staff on how to talk to inmates, respect, and whoop de whoop. Um, We just prepared them for the type of work that they were going to be doing. How to interact with the inmates, um, how to establish healthy boundaries, and just all those other things, right? But at the same time, we're in charge of, man, you got 82 inmates that you got to oversee, and you got to get them acclimated to this prison yard. You got to get them acclimated to this program. You got to get them acclimated to us as free staff, and just preparing them for the rest of their stay while they're in that program, until they parole. And so, man, you have like a morning. We had a morning meeting, and the morning meeting was, just a, hey, we're getting all the inmates together. We're taking roll, making sure everybody's here. We're doing room sweeps. We're walking through their rooms, making sure everything's cool. Um, and we're gonna start the day off with program. You know what I mean? And the program, man, we're gonna current events, we'll do just whatever. But the way I did it was like, man, we're gonna have to hype this up. This is boring. You know what I mean? I'm not that type of person. I'm not a boring type of person. I seem like I am, but I like having fun. I like being stupid. Um, and so it's like, man, we gotta hype this up. We gotta bring, man, we gotta bring the energy. Leadership leads by example. You know what I mean? Man, if you and I used to try to tell the staff, man, I could walk into any cluster and I could get the feel of that cluster. And the feel that I got of the cluster was indicative, was reflective of the energy of the leader in that cluster. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. When you go on a job and you get a feel for the people and you see the people, man, it's reflective of the leadership. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. And so, man, we hyped it up. Man, we had so much fun in our morning meeting because it's like, man, look, if you get these guys up and they don't want to be in prison in the first place, you know what I mean? And it's like, it is what it is. We're gonna have to be here, and we're there 8 hours out of the day. We're interacting with these guys 8 hours out of the day. Man, it is what it is. We got to be here for this amount of time. We might as well have some fun. You know what I mean? There's certain things that we got to do, but man, having fun, that's a choice. That's an option, and that's up to us. You know what I mean? And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make the time go by fast, and man, stay with me. I'm going somewhere. And so we got the guys believing that, man, you can have fun, you can laugh and joke, and man, remember your boundaries though. You know what I mean? There's certain things you can't say to staff. You know what I mean? And certain things that we as staff can't say to inmates. But you can have a lot of fun. And so we got it all hyped up, and everybody's all looking like, how did he do that? And whoop de whoop. You know what I mean? You got people that's mad and jealous that, man, he shouldn't be able to, he must be doing something wrong, and blah, 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 blah. Haters, stay with me. And so you always have those people that are jealous of you. You always have those people that's been there longer than you, that can't get what you do, or that can't get accomplished what you've gotten accomplished. You know what I mean? You always have those people that sit back and like, man, he must be doing something wrong, or whoopty whoopty whoop, that there's no way that he could get those guys to do that, and da 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 da. And it's just, how's he doing that, and just stupid stuff. You know what I mean? They never want to come and watch. They'll sit on the outside and observe and criticize and critique and, find fault, even though what they're doing ain't 1/10 of what you're doing. Even though what they bring to the table ain't 1/10 of what you bring to the table. They're going to try to find fault. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. That's poor leadership. That's poor leadership. My management, we had a orientation A side and a B side, and B side was dead. Man, it was like Valley of Dry Bones. You know what I mean? Just dead. And A side, man, we were all hyped up. We were all yelling and whoop de whoop. Man, and at the end of the day, we would have a cheer, and man, we're talking about inmates, and we'd be all loud and yelling G1B and da da da. You know what I mean? I mean, excuse me, G1A, and we were all hyped up. We started the day that way, and we ended the day that way. Free staff, the new staff was like, man, that's crazy. That you're able to get all this from these inmates, and that man, they're doing this and they're interacting and da 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 da. Management was like, how the heck is he doing that? What the heck is going on? He's completely changed that area. I was like, oh, that must be a fluke. Let's send him to G1B. You know what I mean? Let's send him over to G1B. I bet you he can't do it there. So they came to me one day, and I had invested so much time, so much energy into G1A. These 82 guys, um, the staff that I had over there. Man, we had a great cohesive unit. You know what I mean? And man, it broke my heart when they told me that I had to move. You know, and I walked over to G1B, and I was like, what the hell? you know. And I'm looking at the leadership in there, and it's like I'm not gonna say anything about them, but what the hell have you done? You know what I mean? Why the hell do I have to clean up somebody else's mess? Stay with me. And I felt like I got shitted on, to be honest. You know, I felt like, man, I built this great product, and now they're taking it away from me and giving it to somebody else. And I got to go in here and clean up somebody else's mess. You know what I mean? And I felt I was so mad and so hurt. And then it took me a minute to realize, look, dude, you know what you did. Do it better. You know the mistakes you made over there. Do it better. Do it faster. You know more now. You like a challenge? Here's your challenge. They say it can't be done. Show them it can be done. If you're a great leader, this is what you're going to do. If you're like everybody else, you're going to fold. And you're going to go with the flow. So I walked in there, and for a week, I just stood back and observed. For 1 week. I didn't say too much. The staff was looking at me like, what the? They heard so much about Elijah, and it's like, man, this guy ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? And I sat there and I observed the staff. I observed the inmates. And it's like that next Monday I came in. I told the staff, I had a little staff meeting before I pulled the inmates in. And some of the inmates, I told the staff, I said, we're going to make some changes. And we're going to make some changes fast. And I need you guys to ride with me. If you don't, you can go somewhere else. But we're going to make some changes, and we're going to make some drastic changes. And I need to know that you guys are on my side. I need to know that you guys are riding with me on this. And they was like, yeah, whatever, Elijah, whatever you want to do, Elijah. We was wondering when you were going to take control. It's like, I want to see what was going on. I want to see who was doing what. I want to see who was about what. So I brought in the leadership of the inmates because we had like leaders in the inmates, like 6, 7 guys that worked directly for the staff. Brought them in and told them we're making drastic changes. I stood back and watched for a week. Didn't like what I saw in any way, shape, or form. And that's not how I do business. That's not how we were going to continue to do business. And the lead guy was like, the elderly guy is like, you can't make those changes and whoop de whoop. I said, I'm not asking you for your permission. I'm telling you, this is what we're going to do. And he's like, you can't do that. I said, you got me confused. You work for me. I don't work for you. I'm not asking your permission. I'm telling you, these are the changes we're going to make. Either you're with us or you're not. He's like, you can't just come in here and make these changes. Good, you're fired. Get out. And the inmates looked at me, the staff looked at me, everybody's eyes was big. I said, you're dismissed. This is a leadership meeting. You're not part of this leadership team anymore. You're dismissed. I wanted to fire him from the gate. And so I was glad that he reacted the way he did. Because he was the biggest problem. And he was like, oh, you can't. I hire and fire who I want to. You're fired. Goodbye. Got up, opened the door. Please leave my office. He walked out, slammed the door. The inmates were looking at me, that was left behind, the leaders. There's like, Elijah. I was like, hold up. That's not how I get down. This is what we're going to do. And I picked and I was like, I don't care who has what positions. These are the positions I'm putting you in. And they're like, how? These are the positions that I'm putting you in. They're like, well, why are you doing this? I said, in order for you to reach your best potential, in order for you to reach your highest good, as a leader, I have to put you in a position to where you can excel. I have to put you in a position to where you can shine. That's leadership. I have to put the people in positions to where they can be the most used or they could be the most effective. And they were like, okay. And within a couple weeks, completely changed that cluster around, completely changed that whole dynamics of that place around, to the point to where it became the best housing unit on the entire yard, to the point to where we were doing shows there and people were like coming, the sergeants, the lieutenants of the yards, the captains, the assistant warden came one time. We had we put on a talent show, not a talent show. We did a Corcoran Idol. American Idol was a big thing at that time, and so we did a Corcoran Idol, and everybody wanted to come from all over the yard because they was hearing about, man, G1B, G1B. You know, man, you guys are off the hook. You guys are like big frat party. You know what I mean? That's what it was. I mean, we had so much change, so much was going on there. You know what I mean? But it was a big party, you know. But it was a lot of healing and growth, and just the ambiance was, man, this is our sanctuary. And this is what I told the guys, man, this is our sanctuary. And you, as leaders, I don't care where you're at, wherever you're assigned, your mentality has to be, this is our sanctuary. And when I mean sanctuary, I'm not talking about church. I ain't talking about that stuff. I'm talking about sanctuary. This is our healing place. This is our resting place. This is where we get down. This is where we handle our business. But we do it in an environment to where everybody feels safe. Everybody feels like, okay, you know what? They got my back. You know what I mean? Because only in a place where people feel safe, only in an environment where people feel comfortable, will they produce their best work. Will they grow and heal? You have to create an ambiance. You have to create an environment for that to take place. I know people are like, man, this is working, da da da, and we ain't here to be the therapist. We ain't here to be. Man, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. If you're in a position of leadership, you're their shrink. If you're in a position of leadership, you're their mentor. If you're in a position of leadership, you're their confidant. If you're in a position of leadership, you're their pastor, their preacher, their marriage counselor. You're everything. You become everything to them. And I'm not talking about sleeping with them. I'm not talking about any of that stupid stuff. I'm not talking about best friends when we going out getting drunk and all that. I'm not talking about stupid stuff like that. Okay? You become everything to them. Why? Because, man, there's going to be times where they don't feel it. You know, they ain't feeling it today. And you're going to have to be able to get in their ear and inspire them and motivate them and challenge them and push them. You got to know them. You have to know your people. You got to know what inspires them. You got to know what moves them. Let's think about leaders, man. There's so many leaders don't even know their freaking people. They don't even take the time to get to know their people. And I'm not just talking about on those superficial level. How many kids you got? Are you married? And what do you have degrees in that? That's superficial crap. Do you know them? If you see them dragging today, do you know, man, do you have the ability to get in their ear? Like, man, what's going on? Can you walk beside them and spend 5 minutes talking to them, chopping it up with them to get them to produce 8 hours worth of work, 5 hours worth of work, 6 hours, whatever it is that they're there for? You know what I mean? Can you bring the best out in them? If it takes you 5 minutes to get them going and to get them to produce their best work, man, that's 5 minutes of great investment. You're investing in your people. You're showing them that you care. You're showing them that they're not just a number. You're showing them that they're not just a statistic. You're showing them that they have value to them. And I hear people talk all the time, man, I ain't got time for all that. Man, you ain't got time to be no great leader. You shouldn't be a leader because you don't know what a leader is. Yes, you shouldn't have to come into work every day and hold this person's hand. You shouldn't have to come into work every day and cheer this person up and hype this person up. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when they're going through some things, can you come through and, man, what's up? And they know you and they're comfortable with you because you spent time with them and they know that, man, he's not trying to write me up, he's not on my helmet, and he's not trying to get me in trouble and woo doo woo doo woo. Man, I know that he genuinely cares because this is what he do. The thing about leadership is that you'll always have those other individuals that are jealous of you, that are leaders, that have been leaders longer than you, that had that position before you, that are above you, or whatever the case may be, that are jealous because they don't have that quote unquote anointing. They don't have that energy. They don't have that ability to do what you do. Man, it is what it is. It is what it is. Shine. You still gotta shine. You know what I mean? It don't matter what the distractors say. It don't matter what the haters say. You still have to shine. You still gotta be you. Can you harness that energy? Can you transmute that energy? You know what I mean? Can you change their negative toxic energy and get the troops, those underneath you, to rally behind you to reach your best potential, to reach and accomplish the mission? Because that's your job. That's your job. Get the mission done. Get the mission done. So all the hate, all the stupid stuff, man, the chaos, man, I love it when it's chaotic. And when I mean when we got our backs up against the wall and it's a lot going on, man, I thrive in that. I thrive in that. Why? Because, man, it has to get done. It has to get done. You know what I mean? Mission, man. I learned that from the military. You know what I mean? Man, it don't matter what your odds are. You know what I mean? It don't matter what's going on. You got to get the mission done. You got to complete the mission. You know what I mean? Can you complete the mission short staff? Can you complete the mission when people don't feel good? Can you complete the mission when you got all this jealousy and hatred and you got people trying to set you up and sabotage you and people not doing their job and doing the best that they can do and getting out the best of their people, and then you're coming in and you got to pick up the pieces and you got to pick up their slack from where they left off it? And, man, can you do it? Can you pick it up and then turn around and set up the next shift? You know what I mean? And set them up where they're nice, where they're good, where they ain't got to go through the hill that you just went through. See, leadership, you're not going to get patted on the back all the time. You're not. Man, you got to learn how to pat yourself on the back. And again, that's that loneliness. That's that isolation stuff that I was talking about. You got to know how to say, damn, we did our shit today. You know what I mean? Damn, man, we knocked it off the park today. You know, it don't matter what it looked like. Man, we did what we were supposed to do. We came in here and we handled our business. Man, Look at what we did, and you got to be able to convey that to your troops. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in circumstances. Don't get caught up in how stuff look. You know what I mean? That's emotional leadership. You ain't got time to be emotional like that. We talked about that as far as the stress. Leadership, no, that's not what we do. You got to be able to walk to your man. Boom, you did it. We did it today. You know what I mean? Walking up, checking up on them. You good? You good? Getting in there with them, getting dirty with them, getting grimy with them. See, some people want to be leadership because they think they ain't got nothing. They don't have to do nothing. Then some people want to be a leader because they can just walk around and look pretty all day. They can walk around and look clean all day. And sometimes you could do that as a leader, man. But sometimes, a lot of times, the great majority of time, you got to be able to jump in the fire. You got to be willing to jump in the grime, in the mud, in the dirt, and be like, man, I got you. Let's go. And when you see them dragging, man, I got you. Let's ride. We riding. We riding together. We came in together. We going out together. We got this. I got you. Man, and that's all it takes to give them that energy. You're giving them your energy. You're hyping them up, and they're not even realizing that's what you're doing. And at the end of the shift, they're like, dang. At the end of the day, they're like, dang, we did that. We did that. We did that. And it's like, yeah, we did. We did that. And you giving everybody daps. You giving everybody pats on the back. Man, we knocked it out. We did that. They're like, dang, how? I don't even know how we did that. It's like, yeah, you know how we did it because you're the one that transferred all that negative energy. You're the one that spread that energy around. You know what I mean? You have to learn to think outside of the box as a leader. They ain't gonna teach you this stuff in school. You're not gonna read this stuff in books. You know what I mean? You got to go through the mud. You got to go through the fire on your own. You got to be groomed for this. You got to be prepared for this. You got to be molded for this. Everybody ain't leadership material. The greatest leaders don't even have titles as leaders. They just get the job done. They could walk in and rally the troops when the quote unquote leaders can't do that. I see so many leaders dogging their people out, talking down to them like they're stupid and ignorant, disrespecting them and whoop de whoop de whoop. And it's like, what in the hell? Man, you suck as a leader. You suck. For real, for real. You suck. Family, my hope and prayer. You get on YouTube now, and man, all you hear is people talking about chosen ones, chosen ones, chosen ones. It's like, man, shut the hell up. Everybody talking about chosen ones. You know what I mean? It ain't about being chosen ones. Chosen ones, man, they're just great leaders. Let's just keep it real. It is what it is. Chosen ones are just people that know how to be great leaders, that are being groomed to be great leaders, to become great leaders. You could say it's the anointing of God. All that is energy. All that is energy. You have the right type of energy. You could walk into this place and people are drawn to you. You could walk into this place and people want to work for you. People want to knock it out the park today. People want to give you their best. People want to come in on their day off to help you out. People want to be around you. Not because you got something to give them, like a raise or promotion or pat on the back or anything like that, just because of your energy. Your energy, what you bring to the table. I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.